What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go through every single scene in the new Scream 5 TV spot. Obviously, I've seen a lot of other people do this. I wanted to not watch theirs and just try to focus on my own, try to give you guys something, as unique as possible. But I have seen the talks online on this TV spot, so we're going to go through, again, every single scene and try to piece it all together. So the very first thing we get is actually the important part, I believe, is actually in the voice, not what they're showing here with Sam. Obviously, this is the same exact stuff that we've seen before with her answering the phone, getting attacked by Ghostface from behind. But if you hear very briefly in the beginning, we hear the line about the whole family secret, which we also heard in that Ghostface featurette, where Ghostface says that he knows Sam's little secret. A lot of people, now I believe that's what he says in that one. I don't think he says family, so that's the new part, whereas now he's adding that part. I think a lot of people speculated that obviously a secret would probably tie to her family lines and something with that. Maybe she's connected to somebody in Scream, maybe, her sister. There's some strain there, right? So people had speculated, and again, now we get the word family ties. So we get that very, very briefly. The beginning of it is actually cut off when the ad starts. And we get the same thing again, Jenna Ortega being thrown to the ground, being pulled away. We get all that. On January 14th is the next one. We see the blurry image of Ghostface standing outside of Stu's house. That is nothing different. Then we get Dewey. Then we hear him say, I believe he says the killers are connected to something in the past. He could be saying kills, but this is probably the scene where he's talking to Wes. It's that same backdrop that we got to see in the trailer. Remember, there's kind of two different scenes of Dewey, I guess, explaining things, right? There's the first one that definitely seems like it's going to be to Wes, which is in the background here, and we see it in the first trailer. And then the second one is when they're kind of all together. They're on the different couches, I believe 3 different couches with 3 different groups of people. Dewey is sitting next to, obviously, Sam and Richie. So that's the second thing. I believe this happens, or is supposed to happen, first. Then we get more of that behind the scenes, or behind the, behind the bar scene with our character of Vince, right? Again, I mean, it doesn't look good for him whatsoever, but it's nothing new. One thing I do want to focus on, though, is, again, they make a note to show Ghostface do the bringing the knife up from his left hand, and then his right hand kind of connects, which is in fact, it is the exact same thing that Stu did in the first one. I feel like it's paying respects to, although maybe it could just be him, but that's the second time now. We got that in the first trailer. Now is the second one where we get his, shadow on the wall doing that exact same thing. Then we get Sam talking to Dewey. Now we saw this again. This was in that Ghostface featurette where David Arquette's talking about Dewey having a big heart, right? So we see Sam there. This time she says she's just doing this to protect her family. So I assume the way Dewey answered the door in that featurette, you don't see that here, but he seems like he's met them before, or heard of them before, and it's kind of like a, hey, you're here, but also hey, I thought I told you I don't want you to be here. That's the kind of indication. Again, that's just all my personal assumption. So I actually think that seems right, considering what she says here, right? He answers the door. He's like, I know you, and I feel bad about what happened, but I told you, I'm not going to be part of this, or I can't help you, something like that. And then she has to say, no, look, I really need your help. People around me are being targeted. I'm just trying to protect my family, something like that. And that gets Dewey on board, in which case that would be, maybe they have a conversation, they leave, and then Dewey calls Sydney. That's what I would imagine that scene kind of playing out. We get I think it's longer, maybe it's a split second longer, of Amber coming out of the house with the injury. I still don't believe it's an actual injury. That's been a long-running theory for me. I think we see her take, maybe an extra step in the beginning. No context clues there. But then we get some of the most interesting stuff of the entire trailer. We get that metallic Ghostface mask. Now, again, I think I've seen a lot of other people talking about this. Now, what this could be is difficult because, there's Ghostface, right? He's got the new mask. The jacket, as many have pointed out, does look like Chad's jacket, right? Chad Meeks. So this could be after he gets attacked, or this could just be him playing a joke, because we see the flamethrower, and what's interesting is obviously we'll see the flamethrower later in this TV ad, which we'll talk about, but it could very well just be like a ploy, a joke. Like, it doesn't have to be somebody. I guess the main thing they're trying to make you feel is that the flamethrower is the blame for the person on fire that we saw, which is Amber. I mean, it's 100% Amber, right? But we saw that in the first trailer. We see it again in this TV spot, which we'll talk about. But they're really making the connection that the flamethrower, and now they're making the connection that not just the flamethrower, but this metallic Ghostface mask and person is the one behind that. I don't believe that's true whatsoever. I don't think she's going to be set on fire by a flamethrower. I don't even know if that scene is actually real, which we'll talk about. But, again, that's kind of what you can make out. I mean, it's a new mask. The jacket's over it. There is the flamethrower. Cool. And then, that's actually, I kind of forgot about that. It shows that, and then immediately it shows the person on fire. Now, I still, like I said, 100% believe that's Amber. We get a look from behind, but I mean, without a doubt, it's a girl, right? I mean, there's just zero doubt. And then of all the girls, again, the sleeves, the shirt, the pants, I mean, it all just looks like Amber, at least to me. And that still looks like Sydney, by the way, watching her. Now, I am really starting to believe that could be a dream sequence set up by Sam. We'll talk about it, but obviously Sam seems to have some hallucinations, which they've hinted at, and they've talked about it before. I think you're going to see that throughout the movie. I would not be shocked if this was a dream, or this was some sort of like Amber does this on purpose to kind of like go out on top. But then it's like, well, why would you kill yourself at the end? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So like, did you do this and then you're somehow going to survive it? Those are really my two kind of running theories, that either this isn't actually real, but it will be in the movie. It's just not a real thing that happens. Or she does it anyway. And it's like, but why? Like, does Sydney have a gun to her? And it's like, okay, well, she's got no other option. She's either going to get maybe that's it. Maybe Sydney gets a jump on her at some point. She's got the gun pointed, and then Amber decides, I'm just going to rather die than think. But I mean, it doesn't feel like Scream to me for them to do that. It feels like they would still figure out a way to attack Sydney. That's just how I kind of get it. But I mean, it's a different movie. You never know. And then you have the exchange back with Sydney, saying how like this is never going to stop until, you put an end to it. Then we get the West thing. Now, West, this clearly, I believe, is their house. I mean, you can tell from the backdrop, the fact that it's daytime, and not a lot of this movie seems to be taking place during the day. This is what I believe Judy is driving towards. I think that, it kind of is played out that way in the trailer, and then this TV spot. That is how it's played out, but I do believe that is like the case. There's obviously been a lot of rumors that maybe Judy will get a call and that Ghostface is like at her house. And I mean, whether you believe rumors or whether you don't want to hear rumors, I mean, that seems about like you can actually put that together yourself. You know what I mean? She's on the phone in the car. She's screaming. She's driving very, very fast. You have scenes of Wes. The first promotional picture for Judy was at the house, right? She's kind of like walking around and she's in, her suit just kind of like with a knife. So, I mean, like it seems like that's what's going to happen. Ghostface attacks Wes, but then Judy gets there. And what happens after that, obviously, we don't know. We get Ghostface stomping Sam's leg next, and then the Liv whole like cutting her neck thing. I mean, I don't know what to really make of that. And then we get one of the last scenes in it, which is, again, the Sam hallucination scene where she's drinking water at the hospital. Now, I believe she's at the hospital. And then I really think it is just as straightforward as what they showed in the trailer. And again, I think that's why you have to backtrack to what else is she imagining? You know what I mean? What else is there? Because you have her drinking water and you see Ghostface in the background, and that's not real. And then Ghostface actually attacks her and she ducks. I really think that's actually how it plays out. Do you know what I mean? Where the first one's imagined and the second one is not. Before I get to the other two things that I'll talk about in a second, there is also a missing scene of Sydney getting a call and talking to Ghostface in Stu's house, where she's talking about like she's seen this movie before, and he says, no, Sydney, not this movie. And then he pops up, or Ghostface pops up to attack her. So I like that scene. It doesn't really give, I would say, anything away except for, obviously she walks in, and we've seen, kind of how that's going to play out of her walking in and kind of, I guess, scoping around, like looking around the area. And then she's going to, I would assume, get a phone call. That's when she's going to like go up the stairs, and that's when I think everything, once that phone call ends and once Ghostface pops out, I think that's going to be like the beginning of the end of the movie, right? Where, I mean, she's going to battle, and then she's either going to get caught and there's going to be a second Ghostface that comes in, or whatever is going to happen, but that's going to be the beginning of it all. And I don't think this one, and this is the main one I've seen, this doesn't have everything. This is the 26-second one that's been shared around. this is missing two different scenes, one of which I believe is Chad on his phone looking for Liv, and he's tracking her, and that's when he gets attacked by Ghostface. Now, that happens, that's clearly before the scene we see in the first trailer where he's running and he's already injured and Ghostface tracks him down. Now, again, like, I think that happens. Like, he's going I do believe fully, like, he's going to die there. He is. It just didn't show it. But, I think this is kind of that first step to it. But what that does mean, I think, is that Chad makes it a pretty good length of time, because Liv, I feel like Liv is obviously going to be connected to that house towards the end of the movie, so there's Stu's house, I should say, right? So I think Chad basically makes it to maybe right before the final act, and then he's kind of taken out. And it also doesn't have, I believe, the ending of the TV ad, because I saw in another place is Ghostface stabbing somebody in broad daylight. Now, again, these are all just my assumptions. These are just my theories, but I really feel like that's Judy. That you can see the hands. There's two hands of the person that are trying to, block the knife attack or kind of plead with them. You don't see anything else. You literally just see two hands. They look feminine to me. I'm no hand expert. I'm not going to claim to be somebody who can tell based off of hands which character it is, but it definitely looks like it's outside of her house, which means it's only her or it's Wes. And considering we see Wes a little bit more consistently throughout the movie, and this pains me to say it, right? I truly do believe that's Judy. I think Judy's going to die there. That's just purely, my theory as to it, but it seems about right. And I'm pretty sure that's it. That's every single scene in the 26-second ad, and that's also the two missing scenes that I did not see in that ad, but I saw elsewhere. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I'll do more of these, if anything else pops up later today or on Monday, if we get a full-length second trailer, I'll do more breakdown videos. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one.